Planet Zoo is back with a shiny new DLC, the America's Animal Pack. This brings us 7 new species from across the North, Central and South America regions. Every new DLC, I rank the animals based on appeal, mating capability, upkeep and versatility, so here's the verdict for the new America's animals. For the appeal rating, I'm measuring the animal's popularity, and this can influence visitor numbers and happiness. Based on a sample from the Trade Center, rankings are as follows. Lowest appeal is the Flamingo, with numbers ranging from 750 to 1125. Not far behind is the Greater Rhea, with lowest I could find at 996 to 1125. Fifth place, it's the Coyote, with an appeal range of 1246 to 1500. Fourth place, that's the Bighorn at 1149 to 1685. Third place in appeal rating, that's the Saki at 1500 to 2175. Second place goes to the Bush Dog, big jump here with a range of 3150 to 3831. That means the most appealing animal in the America pack is the ocelot, with a range of 3000 to 4000 appeal points. Next ranking is mating and birth rate, and this evaluates how productive the animals are at bringing in new generations. In last place, it's the Greater Rhea. Now, a big side note with this one, I'm recording this during the early access period, and I think there might be a glitch with the Rhea's mating behaviours in the version I'm playing. They're a promiscuous species, so one male mating with many, and with the 12 females in the herd here, the male should be mating with all of them during the breeding season. What's happening currently is that they're breeding with just one, which for this run has produced just one offspring. For a herd species, I'd expect there to be many more than this. So for this category, the Rheas are in last place for now, but I do anticipate a tweak to their mating behaviours down the line. We should be seeing many more births than this currently, and hopefully they fix that. Anyway, 6th place goes to the ocelot. Just one breeding pair per habitat, and they will have up to 3 babies, but they do take a few years to mature as well. It's about standard for the cats in the game, they just take a little longer with their breeding cycles. 5th place goes to the Bush Dog. One breeding pair per habitat, and the babies take a couple of years to mature as well, but they produce up to 5 offspring per pregnancy, and they're ready to breed again in about 4 months. 4th place is the Coyote, again just one breeding pair per habitat, but much more active. They'll produce up to 6 babies per pregnancy, and it takes just 1 year for the pups to mature. 3rd place is the white-faced Saki. Sakis are monogamous, but you can have 5 breeding pairs in the same habitat, so there's more pregnancies going on at the same time. Just 1 offspring per pregnancy, and they do take 3 years to mature them. 2nd place, I've awarded this to the Bighorn. Another polygynous species, one male will mate with up to 9 females per season, and the females are ready to breed again in about 12 months. Just 1 or 2 offspring per pregnancy, but the numbers add up quick when there's 9 of them doing this. 1st place, that goes to the Flamingo, simply because you can have up to 500 birds in the same habitat. So in theory, you could have around 300 breeding pairs in here and they'd still be fine with that. They are monogamous, produce only 1 offspring per pregnancy, and the babies will take 4 years to mature, but the sheer volume of animals you can have in here outweighs everything else in terms of breeding capability. Next ranking is the cost of upkeep. This is about how expensive it is to keep a typical number of animals in your zoo. The most expensive animal in terms of upkeep, and by a wide margin, it's the Greater Rhea again. Each feed for the Rhea is a whopping $467 per animal. 6th place, this goes to the Coyote, and they'll cost you $256 per animal per feed. 5th place goes to the Ocelot. That's $175 per animal per feed, which considering it's a cat species isn't too bad. The cats in the game tend to cost a little more to feed. 4th place is the Bush Dog, and they'll set you back $153 per feed. 3rd place is the white-faced Saki, a small animal but will cost you $104 per feed. Big drop in cost for 2nd place, that's the Bighorn, and they'll cost just $31 per feed. But the cheapest animal for upkeep, that goes to the American Flamingo, with every feed costing just $8 per animal. And we're on to the versatility ranking. This is the most subjective category, and it's measuring things like the habitat size, terrain flexibility, interspecies enrichment, and guest interaction. Now, I do hate to do it considering they're having a run of bad luck, but this is an unbiased ranking. Bottom place goes to the Greater Rhea, primarily due to the space demands and poor planting flexibility. I do think that the South American grassland biome, it lacks appropriate grass vegetation, which I don't think looks great unless you're supplementing this with some grass plants too. As I say, it's kind of subjective and maybe this is a me problem, but I have this issue with all of the South American grassland species, particularly ones like the dhole that need a lot of space. The habitats end up looking really sparse and it's unconvincing. For 6th place, I'm awarding this to the American flamingo. And it's a similar problem with the rheas. This is a huge habitat and there is an awful lot of water in this as well. Now I've made this big so that it can accommodate a lot of flamingos, so you could probably get up to 400-500 in this and they'd still be fine. Another point with the flamingos, you can make them a walkthrough habitat, which is a plus, but they have a neutral relationship with guests, so potential for stress is quite high there, making that benefit kind of limited. For 5th place, this goes to the ocelot. They need a small to medium sized space and they do have a high plant tolerance, allowing for rich decoration. However, the ocelots are solitary creatures and they don't share enrichment with any other animals. Being shy, they will also get stressed without preventative measures. You will need one-way glass or secluded areas to reduce this. 4th place, I've got the saki. They do need very little space and they have good planting tolerance, just like the ocelots. What puts them slightly ahead, they can have a walkthrough habitat. That said, they're a shy creature around guests, so whilst they get points for that option, you're going to run into problems with stress if you do make a walkthrough habitat with them. 3rd place is the coyote. The habitat size requirement is pretty large, but they can handle a moderate level of plant decoration, so you're able to fill that space up with planting and it doesn't look too odd. No interspecies enrichment with the coyote, but another plus point for them, they're a confident species, so you can go ahead and put a nice clear barrier in here and they're not going to complain about the guests at all with that. 2nd place I've awarded to the bush dog. They need a medium-sized habitat and they do have a small water requirement, but it's not massively imposing on the size here. The bush dogs do have a neutral relationship with humans, so a bit of caution putting a barrier in here, they might get stressed. That said, they can tolerate a high level of planting, so you can negate that with loads of plants, give them hiding spaces, and they can use burrows for their resting area as well, so they can get plenty of de-stressing sleep in a burrow, away from prying eyes. The top pick for versatility, it's the bighorn sheep. They need a medium-sized habitat and there's no water requirement, so a bonus there. They also have a confident relationship with humans, so no need for special barriers and one-way glass and all that. Why they've come out top though, they can share their habitat with 5 different species, so a great interspecies enrichment potential on top of everything else there. That's everything tallied up, so let's take a look at the final scores. Coming out top for this pack, it's the bighorn sheep. They are a great all-round animal and coming top or close to top of a lot of the categories. The other animals are all pretty close in scores, so not a lot of difference between any of them. Aside from trailing behind here, it is the greater rhea. Few issues with them right now, but I think if the breeding thing was sorted out, it would improve their score a bit. Anyway, that's the scores, so hope this has been informative. Thanks so much for watching, I'll catch you next video.